We're Hassani and Danielle Pettiford, and we're a real couple with real problems who almost called it quits.
I was very frustrated. I became very disconnected, very jaded and cold.
We have 4 children, going on 20 years of marriage, and we practice what we preach.
Our mission, to change the way couples relate to one another and teach them the skills needed to improve the quality of their relationships. This is the Couples Academy Show.
Welcome. This is the Couples Academy Show. My name is Hassani Pettiford, and I'm being joined by 2 heavyweights, 2 individuals who know how to get up in there and stick and move and handle these conversations. So I've got Keisha Hines coming from Tampa, Florida, I believe it is, and we have Jeff Witt. Why do I see palm trees behind you? Where are you at? What is going on?
We in Barbados, man, just living a life.
Barbados. So you have okay. So you had to show off. You had to show the infinity pool. You had to show the clear blue skies. Okay. So you're trying to make us all jealous while we deal with this cold weather, depending upon where you are in the country. Well, glad you're there, and we appreciate your commitment for tuning into the show and sharing while you're on your vacay with your wife. Listen, guys, today, you know what today is. Today is Friday. And on Fridays, we do what? We do relationship Q&A. And so, listen, we want you to post your questions so that we can dive right in. But before we do that, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Let the people know that we are on, because we're about to get it on with some of these questions. So let me just take an opportunity to welcome Clancy, Miss Jules in the building, Lisa, Carmel, Federlina, Ed. It's coming in. See, even Miss Jules is just like, really, Jeff? Really? That's right. What we're doing now? Okay. So we're just an international traveler. Well, you're showing us how we need to be living. Okay. Listen, we're talking about relationships today, but I want to give a brief, quick announcement. People are calling. We just have a few slots left for the last chance weekend. Actually, 2 slots left. So if you are vacillating back and forth as in terms of what you should do, listen, the early bird gets the worm. And I can't tell you how many times I have said, man, I wish I had, as opposed to I'm glad I did. And because I missed out on so much opportunities, I made a decision, an internal vow within myself, that when there was an opportunity, I wouldn't sit, I wouldn't vacillate, I wouldn't procrastinate. I would go after it and get what it is that I wanted. And so now I'm singing a different tune. I'm saying I'm glad I did, instead of I wish I had. But in the meantime, check out this video. If you haven't seen it, if you're new to the show, November the 12th through the 14th here in Atlanta, Georgia, we'll be doing our last chance weekend. Take a look at this, and then we'll get started with today's show. That's right. That's the last chance weekend. So make sure you reach out to us at couplesacademy.org. If you go on the website, there's a page dedicated to the last chance weekend where you can find out more information and detail about what we do over the course of those 3 days. The reason why we keep bringing it up is because we know the impact of this experience and what it can do for your marriage, what it can do for your family, and what it can do for your life. And guys, just make the call. Just do it. Does that make sense? Listen, before we get started, listen, I know we have people from all over the United States, and we welcome you and we thank you. But I'm excited today because we actually have people who are tuning in from South Africa, from Rwanda, from Sierra Leone. And so this is what this is all about. We wanted to make a global impact, and I appreciate the fact that they are here. So let's just salute them for being a part of the show. Also, today is a special day because it is Danielle's birthday. That is right. It is her 45th birthday. And on this weekend, she is performing her own concert called The Pieces of Me. It is going to be a concert that we're doing here at the Retreat Center, and you can watch it live from around the world. And so make sure you go to her page, Danielle Pettiford, right? Go to the page, right? And make sure you tune in because tomorrow night at about 8:30, you're going to see her do her thing like you've never seen before. She's a phenomenal singer. I don't know if you know that, but we're going to have a great time tomorrow. And so celebrate with us virtually. That's why you haven't seen her today, because she's been working all week in preparation for that particular day. So we're happy about that. But let's jump into the conversation. We have a lot of questions. I want to get to a particular one that just came through from Jenny, I believe it is. Is it okay for a woman to have many male friends? That's a great question. I want to hear what you two have to say before I weigh in on this.
No. I'm joking or I'm not joking. If you're married, it's probably not a good idea. Unless they're married as well and you can go out as couples.
Okay. Period, point blank. Lakeisha?
Blanket answer, it can work. I just haven't seen it work. If they're married, if they're married, I have not seen it work. You single, you can have all the friends that you want, but you're married, I haven't seen it work.
I think I would agree with the two of you that, at the end of the day, this is the principle we follow. If it works for you and doesn't work for your spouse, it doesn't work for your marriage. Exactly. If it works for your spouse and doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for your marriage. So the question should be really posed to your partner. Does he have a problem with you having male friends? Because come on, truth be told, I heard someone say, and it makes so much sense, the reason why a man and a woman can become friends is because there's no mutual attraction. Oftentimes in this male-female friendship, one person has some type of interest or attraction for the other. Because at the end of the day, check this out, every single relationship on the planet Earth is based upon some form of attraction. It may not be physical, it may not be emotional or sexual, but there's something that draws you to that person. And over the course of time, because you're a male and I'm a female, it's very easy for conversation. Think about it. The foundation and the root of all conversation and communication is intimacy.
Right.
I'm sharing my life with you, you with me. Bonds, chemistry, things are formed in that dynamic, and now you have attractions and chemistry. And I didn't see this coming, and that wasn't the intention, and it was just innocent at first. And now we get caught up in the situation. Think about the fact that overwhelmingly, the majority of affairs that occur happen with a quote unquote friend, because we've transitioned from transactional affairs to relational affairs. Think about this. When people die, when a spouse dies and the other person gets remarried, who do they typically get remarried to? A friend, right? Either a friend that you've had or your spouse's friend. So it's just a danger zone to go down that path.
Well, and even then, if you take a look at just corporate contracts, I know not everything in corporations can be looked at as a marriage, but if you're working at a high level, which when you're making a marriage, you're a partner, right? You're working at a high level, there's always a non-compete agreement. And they consider fraternization with other organizations that could be competitive in any way, shape, or form to be a violation of your contract, and you can lose all your privileges. And so if they have that in business for a reason, because there's a high probability that you will either, one, give up information that you're not supposed to give away that could cause jeopardy to the relationship between that company and yourself, or you could end up taking actions that harm the relationship in a business. So you have to treat a marriage like, in this particular case, like a high-level partnership in a corporation. That separation is needed from you and other corporations who may have competing interests.
Wow, that's very powerful. Let's go to the next question. Fidelina asks, do you guys do counseling over the phone? We were doing couples and individuals, but the counselor wasn't really helping either one of us. The answer is yes. So we do virtual counseling all over the world, and I think that's why you see oftentimes people from other countries tuning in. We use Zoom as a platform. So when you're doing a session with Jeff or Lakeisha or Danielle or any of our other practitioners, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be through Zoom, which is a video-based platform that you can use your phone, use your computer or a tablet. And then if we're doing individual sessions, a lot of times if it's not required that we get on a video, yeah, sure, I'll pick up the phone and we could do a session by phone. But the point is, yes, we do that. And we're spread out all over the country. And that's the benefit of working with Couples Academy, because some of you want to be in person and some of you prefer virtual. Once again, Jeff is in Philadelphia. We are in Atlanta. Lakeisha is in Tampa, Florida. And so we have a national reach and a global reach that allows us to do work with people everywhere. So make sure you just go to the website, couplesacademy.org, or set up a discovery call. Reach out to us through 678-200-8996. We'll be glad to serve you. Dee has a question. In a blended family, if an in-law doesn't acknowledge your child, just husband's child, should you still attend family functions with in-law to make your spouse happy or even make your child go? Interesting question. Come on, guys, jump in.
I think the confrontation needs to be had. I'm not opposed to confrontation in situations like that. That confrontation needs to be had, and they need to state their intentions towards you and your family.
Lakeisha?
Yeah, the thing is, you definitely have got to have a conversation. I 100% agree with you, Jeff. Like, we can't just keep going on as if nothing is happening. And what is the impact that that's having on that child not being acknowledged? That's not cool. So we definitely have to have a conversation. And then I'm not sure, I needed to go back to the question. I'm not sure whose family it is, but definitely there has to be a conversation with whomever's family that is, that they need to have a conversation with their family. And then you guys together need to have a conversation in terms of what your expectations are, because it's not okay to exclude any child, whether they're blood or not.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I agree with both of you. In-laws can often become outlaws when there's no alignment with the couple. Mm-hmm. See, think about this. If a couple isn't in alignment, isn't in agreement, parents, in-laws know how to infiltrate and get in between that. Children know how to infiltrate and get in between that and turn one partner against the other. But when you two are in alignment, see, that can't happen. And so how do you address this? So Jeff says confrontation, Lakeisha says conversation. So listen, the root word of confrontation is confront, and you confront it with a conversation. So they're both right? So to me, it's a 2-step process. Step number 1, the blood relative needs to go to the family member where this issue is occurring and have a conversation and preface the conversation that a further conversation needs to be had. Part 2, the spouse comes along into the second conversation, because we, oftentimes there's so much hostility and there's so much angst between family members that the initial conversation where they're all together may not go well. So there needs to be a part 1 and a part 2, and they need to know what is unacceptable, because at the end of the day, when you get married, you're establishing a new culture and a new norm for your household. And anybody who's going to have access to the family, to the children, to your house has to abide by your culture. Because if they don't, then they can't come. at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And so
And
if you want to protect the sanctity of your family and of your child, because so many children are just victimized and beat up and beat
Right.
down and made to feel horrible because of an in-law's attitude or behavior that is unbecoming. And it does present a huge problem. So I agree with all of you. Let's go to
yeah, she also asked, do you still attend the family functions? And so I think initially you may need to remove yourself from the family functions until that conversation / confrontation takes place. And hopefully you're able to resolve the issues, and then you guys can resume. But you don't want to put a child in a uncomfortable, hostile environment.
1,000%. 1,000%. Another question: what should I do if I cheated and my partner has moved on? I still love her and want her back, but she thinks it's impossible for our relationship to change if we stay together. Yeah, guys.
Nothing is impossible. It's all about your willingness to do the work that's necessary to heal. Anybody can be transformed. Anybody can have a renewed, restored, refreshed, rejuvenated relationship, but it's about your willingness to do the work that you need to do. So I think it's definitely reparable, right? But it's, what are you willing to do? And both parties have to be willing to do the work necessary to make it work.
I 100% agree. It's really got to come down to willingness to learn, willingness to accept change, and willingness to put in the time, money, and effort.
And willingness to forgive, which is huge. That's the biggest part, right? Being willing to forgive.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to another question. Anita says, is it wise for a couple to decide that they should block and never talk to their ex?
Yes.
Absolutely. Block them.
Yes.
Block them all.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so the question is, should you block them? Well, is there any need for any further conversation? Like, do you have any children together that requires any type of conversation, interaction? If not, what are you connecting to them for? So listen, before just blocking them, if you've been in communication with them, you need to have a final conversation to bring conclusion and resolution to that relationship. Because if you just ghost them and they don't know what happened to you, then you're not solving the problem, because they will reach out. And guess what, guys? We're entering into a holiday season, and most exes reach out during Thanksgiving, during Christmas, during New Year's. Hey, just thinking about you. Happy holidays. How you doing? How's the family? And then all it takes is, and we hear this all the time, I didn't pursue her. It's not like I reached out to him. It's not like I approached that person. They approached me. So somehow that what justifies continual bad behavior, sometimes that makes it better and okay because you weren't the initiator. If you've engaged in the interaction and conversation, it is just as bad. So have a conversation with them. Let them know that all communication and the relationship is over, and you're honoring the integrity of your relationship, and that you should not contact me anymore. I will contact you. Any attempts that you make in contacting me, I will make my spouse aware. From this point forward, we're severing this relationship, and then you block. So there's something called the no contact contract. The no contact contract says, I'm cutting off all forms of communication through phone, through text, through email, through social media, through social engagement. I am removing myself from your world. You remove yourself from my world so that I can focus on my primary relationship. And nothing and no one in no previous relationship should compromise the integrity of your primary relationship, which is with your spouse.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to another one. This is from Ty. If a man has been with a woman in the past, reaches out to her in the future, and has spent money, time, and sex with her, is it possible that he has no feelings for her?
No.
Yes. I say yes.
I think he has feelings for her because he wouldn't even maintain it. There's two issues that could happen here. One, he's got some kind of feelings for her. Even if there's sexual attraction feelings, that's still feelings, because he obviously had sex with her. He reaches out in the future and has spent money, time, and sex with her. If he's reaching out to her, it's because he's thinking about her. If he's thinking about her, that means he has feelings for her, because our thoughts tend to attach immediately. Whenever we attach ourselves to any thought and follow that line of thinking, there's an emotion connected to it. That is scientifically proven. So to say feelings, you're saying emotions, and emotions, therefore, he does have emotions, some kind of emotional tie to her. Now, the deep depth, whether it's like just completely sexual or whether it's just completely something else, but it's all dangerous. So it's best to curb that as soon as possible.
I think it's possible for him not to have feelings. I'm sorry, that's just me. I think it can be just sex. And I think sometimes that is what it is. However, we know from a spiritual standpoint, whenever you connect yourself to someone else, that there is these soul ties that are created. So I do believe from a spiritual standpoint, there's a connection there. So I agree with you in that respect. But I think that it can be sometimes just sex. I mean, men say this all the time. The sex was good. So I reached out because the sex was good. And that's all I really wanted.
Well, sex is an emotional need.
It is an emotional need.
Right. So when I have it, it makes me feel some type of way. When I don't
That's
have
true.
it, it makes me feel some type of way.
True.
Oftentimes cheating is about desirability. So when I desire and crave and long for something, that's a feeling. That's an emotion. You know, if we're spirit, soul, and body, right? We're spiritual beings housed in a physical body. We possess a soul. Then everything you do, you bring all of you into that act, right? If I play basketball, I can't just bring my body in and not my mind, right? If I'm studying for a test, I can't bring my mind in and not my emotions. So I bring all of me into every experience. And so once again, if I have a history with this person and still reaching out in the future while I'm with someone else, whatever you want to call it, it's a violation. It's a betrayal. So whether you want to claim, sir, that you have feelings or not is completely irrelevant, because now I got feelings about what you're doing.
Well, then there's also the chemistry aspect of it. We're all chasing these hormones all the time. So we're chasing dopamine, we're chasing oxytocin. Oxytocin is produced during orgasm. Okay. And there's a trust bond that happens with that. And usually men, if they're with someone who's just sex, where they say it's just sex and they don't really want to be there, there is no bonding afterwards. They're looking for the door, because oxytocin will make you feel sick. You can actually look all this stuff up. It'll make you feel sick. It'll make a man feel sick if he does not have a bond with that human being. But
are you trying to tell me that it's not just females that have emotional connections when sex is involved?
So what will happen is if a man actually engages in sex at the peak of a climax, he experiences a burst of oxytocin. That's actually what he's chasing. But what ends up happening is if it's with someone he does not feel like he's going to bond with, this is God's given, natural mating call. So once they feel that, if they don't feel a bond with that person, they actually feel disgusted. And every man I've ever talked to admits this. They do. If they don't feel the bond, they feel disgusted and they want to find an exit. Now, different men handle it different ways, but if they get up and leave right away, you know how they're handling it. Sometimes they'll cuddle to get out of it, but at the end of the day, they're chasing that hormone, and emotions are the things that drive us to those hormones. So I definitely 100% agree with you, Asani. It is emotional.
The notion that men, and it's out there, the notion that women are emotional and men are logical, is problematic, because women are logical and men are emotional. We're both. We have logic and emotions because we have a head and we have a heart. It's how we manage and balance, right, those particular thoughts and emotions to determine how we function in a relationship. Women, we're in a society where they're taught to express and be emotional. Men are taught to suppress those emotions. And so usually men have no problem expressing hard emotions, right? So I'm mad, I'm pissed, I'm angry. Is that not an emotion? Aren't most dudes in prison today because they could not manage their emotions, which ultimately got them in trouble? But women, they're crying and they're panting and all of that. And we think that that's a sign of weakness because of how it's being manifested. But my rage that's uncontrollable is also a sign of weakness. So,
you know that was sarcasm,
emotions
right?
differently.
You know that was sarcasm, right?
Yeah, I know you were saying that sarcastically, but that's the thought that's out there. And I think many men have embraced this concept. Many women have embraced this concept. And when a woman sees a man that responds a certain way, why are you acting so emotional? Why are you acting like a woman? Why? And it's just like, whoa. Maybe we need a re-education on who we are as human beings and how we were designed. Because
I was just going to say, they need a safe space to express their emotions so they feel they can learn to be in tune with that and feel okay in it. And, like you and I both know, we've put men through experiences where they actually break down, ball like babies and need hugs from other men. And, I'm a tough guy. I like the crazy stuff. You know me, I'm out there. I do fight with sticks and jump out of planes and do all kinds of crazy stuff. But at the same time, it wasn't until I got in touch with my emotional side that I realized the power of just allowing that to be and exist. And I didn't realize how dangerous and toxic it was to not be able to embrace those emotions and be there for my spouse and really, really open up. And there's a freedom that comes when you learn how to do it in a balanced connection. And no, by no means does that make you weak as a man.
And Jeff, because you and I personally have gone through the experiences that we put men through, we know that it's real. We know that it's work. We know what our emotional reactions were. We were bawling and tearing and all snotting and all messed up. And then and interestingly enough, Lakeisha, you know this, when we do intensives, guess who typically is the most emotional?
The man.
It's the man.
The man.
I
wanted to say too that I think sometimes with that question, because what I'm hearing is maybe they feel like that the person is lying or just saying that they don't have feelings or whatever. They may not be in touch with their feelings or emotions, and that takes some growth and some time for, I'm saying men, but for people generally to get in touch with their emotions. Is more so men, because like you said, women are taught to express outwardly and men are taught to suppress. So learning how to get in touch with their feelings and understand their emotions and things, it's a process for a lot of men. So it may be that they don't even realize what it looks, feels, and sounds like to have emotions or feelings for somebody else.
You're absolutely right. Listen, we could do a topic on this, but we have so many questions we need to get to. The next question is, what are the reasons someone is stuck in the healing process? Well, my first question would be, well, what does that process look like?
Right.
Is it covering all the necessary steps? Are you going through this process on your own? Are you working with someone who's guiding you through it?
Absolutely.
Are you working with the right person? The approach that a counselor, the approach that a therapist, the approach that a mental practitioner would take, they're all different. There's so many modalities, there's so many methodologies. And so I would first look at the process that you're referring to. And I think and this is what I love about our team. We have so much expertise in different areas and we work together as a team. And oftentimes, hey, Hassani, I'm dealing with this. Pass them off. Hey, Lakeisha, this is the issue that this couple is doing. Let me pass them off. So we work together as a team because we all can help in that recovery process, because our objective is to help you heal and also to help restore that relationship. So that's what I would encourage you to do. Guys, I'm going to jump into these questions and allow one of us to hit it hard, and then we'll move on. Ed says, I wish I recognized your program earlier in my marriage of 20 years. My undiagnosed adult ADHD combined with bad impulsive behavior led her to ghosting me and losing that in love feeling. Yeah, I hear you. And we appreciate the compliment in terms of, what this show is doing for you or what our services is doing for you. But it's not too late. It's not too late for you to become the best version of yourself. So continue to tune in and get what it is that you came to get. Dee says, my husband says his mom is at an age she won't change, so I should be the bigger person. That's the challenge, man. Boy, because the parental relationship is challenging, in terms of changes that need to take place in a family dynamic. It's just it's challenging, and at the end of the day, you can't make anybody change. The only thing you can change is you.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. I mean, how do you guys respond to that?
Age has nothing to do with that.
Nothing to do with it.
Absolutely nothing to do with that. And all about people's willingness to work on the relationship. Again, it's all about what you want. Jeff, you said this earlier. Do you want to be happy? Like literally, if you want to be happy and you want a healthy relationship, you're willing to do whatever it takes to make that work.
So the word relationship actually from where it actually, the source of it comes from, literally means a masked or covered bondage. Now, that bondage could be to a thing that serves you, right? Higher things like my bond with God, bond and bondage are close together. But it also could be something that oppresses you. So there's many things in our lives that can create those bonds. And my parents, anybody's parents, that where you have these situations, you have to create boundaries on the bond. And if you don't create those boundaries, like I had to at one point say, listen, I love you very much, but this particular part of our relationship is toxic. I cannot allow that in my space of my family and my relationship. And if you're going to violate that continuously, then we're going to cease this relationship. I did that with a parent, my parent. Do you know what happened? The parent changed. They did not change their behavior. They changed their behavior in my space. And that's all I need.
Yep.
Wow. Can I give a bomb on that? Because I mean, that was powerful. Listen, I can't believe we're 30 minutes in. Last week I gave this episode an hour, but for the sake of people's time, I can't do that today. But this is what I promised to do, because I see all of these questions. I want to appreciate you for dropping these questions. And my promise, my vow to you is that we're going to address every single one of these questions on Monday. We have another series we're going to dive into, but maybe this is an opportunity to take a break and to address your issues. So we're going to exhaust every single question next week until they're completely addressed. So I'm putting them on Front Street right now. Lakeisha, I'm calling you out. Jeff, I'm calling you out. I know Friday is the day that we do relationship Q&A, but if you're able, if it's possible, if you have time in your schedule to join us at the top of the week, I would love to continue in this conversation. Guys, what I'm going to do to honor you, I'm going to take your question and actually make it a post within the show so that we're not forgetting, what did they say? No, we're going to have it as a part of the show to make sure that we give enough time and attention to it, because this is what you came here for. But listen, it's Friday. We hope you have an amazing weekend. I know that we will, because Danielle is going to be doing her concert for her 45th birthday. And so we appreciate that. Listen, guys, you can join us virtually. Make sure you do that. Find out, text us, reach out to us. We'll get you connected to that. But other than that, have an amazing week. Jeff, I appreciate you, your sacrifice, and really spending some time with us while you are having a good time on that island with your lovely wife, Lakeisha. We appreciate you. And guys, we will see you on Monday morning. Enjoy.